Good morning, everybody. As always, we are back down the lovely farm. I'm a little bit tired, as you can see. Sorry if you just caught my yawn. Guess what's back on the dyno? You've obviously just seen it. Jamie! Well, not Jamie, but Jamie's car. So, last time this was on the dyno, we had boost control problems, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it made, what power was it?
Not enough.
Was it 270? 260?
Yeah, 270 I think.
It made about 270 horsepower, and that was at about, what boost was that? 16? 17? I can't remember what it made now.
17 I think.
About 17 psi, and we couldn't get no more boost into it. We got the boost control solenoid all connected up down there, so we can control it electronically, closed loop with a max ECU. But I had the duty at like 95% duty, and it just wouldn't make no more power. And then Jamie, because basically Jamie, if you haven't seen this car before, go back on the channel, have a look at it, like when we put it together and stuff like that. You'll get more of an idea for it. But just to give you a rough summary, it's a Blacktop Zetec. It's got pistons, rods, cams, valve springs, ported head. It's on a HO inlet manifold with a set of Scooby 440cc injectors.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's on a Mitsubishi Evo Turbo TDO5?
Yeah.
TDO5. Not overly sure what the spec is. And it's got a an adapter plate to bolt the Evo exhaust manifold and turbo to the Zetec. So basically it's the old race engine out of my race car. But I've built a new engine now, so I donated this one to Jamie because it was a little bit tired, but it still works fine. And he's just bolted obviously the inlet and the exhaust on it, and we've got it up and running. It's on a Max ECU Mini. It's got closed loop lambda, closed loop boost control, all the goodies. We wired up the oil pressure the other day, didn't we? So that's now logged by the ECU. Just need to get it on the display. Basically, it's not externally gated; it's internally gated. But because it's an Evo Turbo, they do like this back exhaust housing on the that bolt onto the obviously the Evo turbos, and they split the exhaust, so the exhaust goes down there, and then the wastegate penny opens this side. So now he's got back to a screamer pipe, which comes straight out of the bonnet. So yeah, the aim of today is this needs to make more than 300 horsepower, really, doesn't it?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. We had a bit of an oil leak, so I took the timing belt off the other day, yesterday actually, and I changed the crankshaft oil seal. Jamie done the exhaust, moved all that about. Yeah, haven't really changed too much, really, is it?
No, not really.
So that's it. So yeah, the goal today is we want to get it on the dyno. It's on the dyno. Want to set it up and just put more boost for it, and hopefully it'll make. We want to see 300 horsepower, really. If we make 300 horsepower, we'll be happy. So yeah, let's crack on. So basically, we did one run, didn't we?
We did one run.
And we'll spin like mad. So now I've put the traction bar on. Basically, if you don't know what traction bar is, it hooks in the front of the dyno, and then these straps go up and over the lower arms, and you tighten them down here, and it pulls the car into the rollers. And then if it does start pulling hard, as it yanks up onto the dyno, it bites in. So basically the harder the car pulls, the more these straps pull into the car to make it bite into the roller. So should be able to carry on mapping now. Right, or start rather. Let's carry on. Right, so again, another day, another issue we have with boost control on this car. So it's obviously got the Evo Turbo on it, and it's got an aftermarket actuator, fresh out of Wuhan. Oh, and it come from Hong Kong, this one, didn't it?
Yeah. Hong Kong.
Yeah, something like that. And when we was having the boost control issues the first time round, he took the wastegate apart, and the actual rod that screws into the middle unscrewed and fell out in his hand. So there wasn't enough preload on it. So while it was apart, we put a bigger spring in it, and then we put we Loctited the bar in, and we adjusted the preload so it's a bit tighter as well. So now when it's bolted on, you have to proper like, normally it's like a normally it's like a little half moon shape to pop the actuator arm onto the like the wastegate arm, but now we're like just over a half moon, so you have to really pull it and click it on. But it's still only making a base pressure of like a bar, so it's really, really frustrating.
Shit.
So yeah, so basically what we've done to overcome this, because it's a dual port actuator,
Ignore the setup at the minute.
yeah, ignore the setup, we've just chucked it together, you can't really see, but basically we've plumbed it in like that. So now we've got boost going onto the bottom of the actuator to open it up, and then we can bleed boost onto the top of the actuator to hold it shut. So now it should make some boost. Yeah, don't leave your phone there. So hopefully I'm gonna basically zero out the boost control table, do a run, see if it makes wastegate pressure, And if it does make wastegate pressure, I'm then going to try and bleed boost into the other side of the diaphragm to hold it shut. Oh, my door's stuck. To hold it shut, and then hopefully, oh, that squeak. Hopefully we can finally take control of the boost.
Yes.
So yeah. Oh, and annoyingly as well, I would show you the runs, but I run over here to turn the dyno fan off and flick the wrong switch and actually turn the power off for the dyno, which is quite frustrating. So I've lost them all. Actually, I can probably get them back, but it doesn't matter. Right, let's crack on, yeah?
Yeah, let's make some plans.
Let's do it. So, still having problems with boost control. So the boost comes from the reference over here, round, and then it went straight onto the wastegate. Like that, it's 13 psi. We then put a Mac valve in to bleed boost out, so that it has to make more. It makes a bar boost. Mac valve was flat out and it wouldn't go past the bar, so from 13 to a bar. So, okay, so we added a T-piece to the boost reference to bleed boost away before the Mac valve. Now it makes 16, 17 psi. So we put another T-piece in front of it, so it goes boost reference, T-piece that leaks to atmosphere, another T-piece that leaks to atmosphere, then from that into the Mac valve, then into the actuator, and now it makes 18 psi. So we want it to be about 23, 24 psi. We can't get it up high enough. So we tried tightening the preload even more on the actuator, but the rod bottomed out in the fitting at the end. So we've cut the end of the thread off so we could wind it down more to get more preload. And we're going to see what happens. What have you done now? You wind it down more?
No, I'll just try.
Well, you butted it up. Yeah. Well, let's see if it makes more boost, shall we? Right. Let's crack on again. So, cut a long story short, I've been doing some mapping and managed to get the boost up to 22 psi by tightening the preload, so that works well. But I was trying to put a bit more fuel into it because it was a little bit on the lean side for my liking, and I noticed I couldn't really get more fuel into it, so I was like, I know. So I logged injector duty cycle and it's at like 105% duty. So basically it's only got Subaru 440cc injectors and a 3.5 bar regulator, so I think we found the limit of the injectors. That, and there's still an electrical gremlin with this car where the ECU's not logging. I've put a battery support on the battery and we've had the alternator rebuilt. When I run the car, the battery sees 14.2 volts off the like 30 amp battery support, and the ECU only seems to read about 13.7, 13.8 volts at best. And then when I start doing a run, the voltage drops, and at one point I caught it dropping to like 12.9 volts. So I'm thinking also not getting a full 14 volts to the fuel pump, so we might be losing fuel pressure. I know the ECU will compensate for voltage loss with injector duty opening, so but still I think what it needs to do is go away, sort the earths out on the car, get a full 14 volts what the battery sees, get that to be, get the ECU to see that, and I think that might get rid of half the issues. But also it made 284 horsepower. Let me show you. So get out and show you. So it makes 284 horsepower and 304 foot-pound of torque at like 21 psi. That's obviously with injectors flat out and stuff, so yeah, that's not too bad. It's not betting obviously, so that's another good thing. Gonna have to just leave it at that until Jamie sorts everything else out, really. So yeah, that'll do for this video because there's not really much more we can do. Haven't got any bigger again. You could probably find some Subaru side feed injectors that are like 800cc, because Ginger's got a set for his inlet. They're at work. I know. SRD or whatever it is do side. I don't really know too much about side feeds. Or send your manifold to Zach, get him to modify it for a decent fuel rail, get a decent fuel pressure regulator, and then we'll put some of my injectors in it, some 600cc ones.
Yeah, I think I might do
Or some Bosch 800cc ones.
do the test day.
Yeah, do the test days. You've got 280 brake now. You can use the car, and then at a later date we'll readdress this issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will do for now. Cheers, guys.